Hi guys, and I'm sure we've got our Jack Daniels here. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Andy Marlowe. Andy, obviously, if you don't know who he is, he mixed my last record, Dark Society, and he also did the bulk of the mixing in 1984. So yeah, he's like my mix engineer, but he also did a lot of the guitar work, and that's another story. But today he's going to be helping me to. Because I've got a nice Gretsch guitar, you saw it, and I can hold it and play it to a point. But I just figured I want to get someone who can really play, for this demonstration. So Andy, you've obviously, full disclosure, I mean, you're not a huge Depeche Mode fan. I think you've been listening to a lot more of it since you've been working with me.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's I was familiar with a lot of the famous, known tracks, but things like album tracks, I really didn't know. But just sort of referencing sounds or styles or feel and vibes. It's been interesting listening to it in a way that you will never be able to listen to it because you're such a fan that me being not knowing about it, I'll listen in a different way. But it's been fun sort of learning the guitar parts for the I Feel You. It's got some good little
and I'm
developments in it.
I'm glad you brought that up because you're absolutely right. Because this record is now 30 years old this year.
Yeah,
and so you can imagine I was listening to that through my high school years and stuff. So it's so embedded into my mind. I cannot listen to it objectively. Because I just hear it. And it's interesting. We'll go through it in some detail. As you said, when you listened to some of it, just tell us about the tuning. It's
the final mix that's certainly that's out on YouTube. I don't know if others is it slightly sharp.
Okay.
By plus 28.
Oh right, because
fine tuning.
Are we talking?
So it's less than a semitone.
Less than a semitone. And so far as a lot of the geeks out there will sometimes ask me, Vaughn, what do you think? Because I know it was Spike Stent that mixed this record, and something you and I talk about a lot, Andy, is and I mean you're a very good mix engineer, but it's not always the mix; it's the arrangement and stuff as well. But sometimes it's more the vibe, and you did that with Dark Society as well, where you'd push things that were where you'd feel okay, it's probably not technically correct, but it's all about
if it feels right and gets you going.
Yeah.
I don't mind things slipping a bit. I think the whole track is in tune. It's just it's not in a standard 440.
Yeah.
It's 440 plus a bit.
So and I mean, obviously
might have been the keyboards were slightly out, or it got bounced between tape machines, and it just went up a bit because one machine was playing slightly faster. But it's just gone. So it's all within itself. It's just when I tune to learn it. It's not A isn't A.
And that's interesting. I mean, do you think due to the experimental nature of Depeche Mode, maybe they did that on purpose, or
I think it could be anything from accident to purpose.
But the end result being.
But the end result is great, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
It so doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, it bugs me if something is out of tune within itself.
Yeah.
If a guitar is just out of tune with the rest of the track, it's. But if everything's in tune within itself, I don't care if the track's bang on.
The whole track's basically, you say 0.28?
A higher, sharp.
That's interesting. That's very, and you see, I've never noticed that because as I say, because you're listening to it, and also disclaimer, when you were mixing Dark Society, I gave you a lot of reference material to listen to, just for vibe, and so you got to listen to a lot of that stuff as well, and and it's there that where you listen to. Depeche Mode's approach is very different because I mean, you play in prog rock bands and stuff like that, so you're listening to something that is very electronic. But it's very rock, but it's not.
Yeah,
it's kind of the approach is a bit weird.
Yeah, but I like the way things are done, and the fact that keyboards are getting bunged through guitar amps and recorded as reverbs in rooms, and it's making each of those keyboard sounds individual, and it's not just out of the box in a preset, which I just cannot bear.
I know.
So I think reamping things, you can tell that they've.
Put a lot of work into it.
There's a lot of, even if it's just one keyboard sound, it's not just something coming out of a keyboard.
Exactly.
It's going through stuff, and there's
putting character.
There's probably like little delays and being sends and stuff just being live done during the mixing. I'd have thought in those days, because obviously no automation.
That's right. That's right.
So it's people just pushing things a bit and pulling them and things will probably go too loud or too much delay, but it's a performance in itself, and it's the vibe.
So, and I mean, all things being objective, and opinions are opinions. If you listen to that, if we were to scrutinise the mix of that, what was the first thing that came to your mind?
It's got its vibe, which is the main thing.
Yeah.
There's things I think, just because of the way I mix, I would have done something slightly differently, but that's also because we've got the technology now to be able to do some of that easily. Whereas, so I found it quite hard to play along with, because the guitars are sort of so a part of the keyboards as well, and some of the keyboards are sort of a bit distorted, and it's sometimes hard to tell, is that two guitar parts or is it a keyboard part? And
I see, yeah.
So the guitar parts I'm going to be doing are what I think are the main parts he's playing.
Yes.
But other stuff may well have happened to them, and there may be other things going on that
were done
alter it, overdubbed or whatever.
That's right.
Just to
or parts that were sampled in and played back on keyboards, so to speak. Yeah.
And sometimes the tuning things can come in with that. You sample it and it goes off a bit, and certainly tape machines do funny and wonderful things. So.
Of course, yeah, we're fans of the happy accident, aren't we?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well let's run through it sort of from the start. So it starts off with the main riff, which is really just a standard. Is it 12-bar blues? Not a blues riff.
Yeah, sort of. It's a bend off the C on the A string, and then it's just playing root 5th octave. But each time he plays it on the record, it's subtly different. So it's not the same exact part every single time.
It's not like a copy and paste.
No.
Yeah.
So it starts off, and then it's a simple, and then it's even more complicated.
He brings in right.
And then clean, and then there's an extra.
Brings it down.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the first one's a 4. Second one's a 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But some of those extra notes may be from it being recorded more simply with a delay or something added.
I see.
And this is where it's very hard to tell.
Exactly.
Is he actually playing that or not? And looking at the video, he's playing a simpler version, but it doesn't mean he didn't do it on the record.
Exactly. Okay. And that's a great explanation. And as I say, because, guitar is not my first instrument. So that is why I'm glad I've got you into today. Okay, so let's start off with the way it starts. It goes, it's got that squeaky sound. It goes, then it comes in with
and it's the jet,